Hello and welcome to Pickles Garage. Today we're going to be replacing my rear sway bar as well as sway bar links and the bushings associated here. So it's a fairly straightforward repair. I'm going to show you some of the signs on mine that's pretty obvious that you need to go ahead and get these replaced. It does affect ride quite considerably. You might hear kind of a popping sound. Sway bar naturally is supposed to help with the stability of your vehicle, so if it's going bad or if it's not working properly, then your ride is going to be all kinds of messed up. So we don't really need a whole lot of tools here, just a series of ratchets. I'm probably going to use a breaker bar depending on how bad the bolts are for the current one, but pretty much 18mm, 15mm metric seems to work the best here. And that's about it. I might use a cheater bar as well, we'll see. But essentially, when you're ordering this, I did also get this on Rock Auto, still not sponsored. But the reason I want to bring it up is, unfortunately, this is the first time I've had a mild issue with them. When I ordered part number, ironically, 927158, it showed on the website as just the sway bar and the bushings. And so I also ordered the sway bar links separately. I got these like premium ones. And when this came, it had everything. And I even went back on the website and double checked that there was absolutely two different part numbers. Part number 1, which is the one that I got, which was the number I just gave you, only showed those two items still, only listed those two items. And then right above it, there was a slightly cheaper part number, which I can't remember off the top of my head. And that had this entire kit identical to this. So either way, I ended up with all the parts I needed, but I did have to send back the sway bar links that I no longer needed, which was unfortunate. And so do be careful about that, because obviously they still charge me for the label, because no matter what, whenever you're returning parts to a place like that, it's never their fault. And so I don't really fully blame them. I just think that maybe there was a slight hiccup, but all in all, just be careful when you're ordering these parts that you might end up getting this whole kit rather than just the two items that were listed, and so you don't end up double ordering. But we're going to start looking into the old one and why you need to replace this. So unfortunately for me, I was playing around in the mud recently, so it is going to be a little dirtier under here. But this is your rear sway bar. That's going to be those bushings, comes around here to the other side and up, identical to this. So this is the link arm right here. And so the issue I'm having that might not be super obvious just because the mud is there's actually a lot of play here. And so you see how that's not even, so these are all pretty much rock hard. There's a tremendous amount of play on both sides. And so you can imagine as a vehicle is moving down the road and kind of shifting its weight, it's just going to pop from one side to the next. And so that's all I hear when I'm driving is just this. So we're going to go ahead and replace all this. It's good if you're living in a really warm sort of climate. These fade pretty quickly. These don't feel terrible, but I mean this one feels pretty much rock hard. And so they'll start to crack, as you can see on this one. And then they just don't end up doing their job anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and replace everything top to bottom. If you need to test your front one, it'll look very similar to this, and you'll be able to tell that that one is super tight and locked in, so you know that this one is an issue. And I know it's tempting just because there's a fair amount of room under there, but you are going to want to lift the rear. Mine is ever so slightly lifted, but make sure you chalk, use e-brake, be safe. But we're gonna go ahead and move to the back, and we're gonna start on, I'm gonna start on the links actually. But again, just the reason for lifting it up is you want to take the tension off this whole system, so that way it is tight when you install it. So just make sure that you get it off the ground, get the tension off, get your jack stands, and we'll go ahead and start removing those link arms. Alright, so I'll show you everything on one side and then you can just mirror it on the other side. I am switching up a little bit of what I have. I'm using a deep socket 15 for this, which I'm going to put in place like that. And then I'm going to use an 18 wrench and then that is how I'm gonna go ahead and loosen this all up. Yeah, it's gonna be on there pretty good. I did hit it with some WD-40, but oh, there we go. Okay, come on. Oh. Trying to do it from the wrench side, but it's probably gonna be easier to do it from this side. So, to get a little bit of a twist here. Let's switch up here. So I can probably get a regular ratchet on this now, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch over. And now we have that removed, so you can see the orientation, bolt going this way. And you can see up here, it's got that sort of plastic insert. And so you're gonna match your link, your new link arm to that. So I'll show you on our new parts, but now we can go ahead and remove from the top here, and then we'll move on down to this. So similar concept, you're just going to be taking those straight out, bolt will go out this way, and we will be good to go. So I'm removing this right now. So luckily there's pretty good access from up top, and this on the inside is a welded nut, so you don't have to secure that one, you only have to focus on loosening this. Basically I went with this length here, and I just had a couple of extensions, 15mm to take the bolt off, and then I used a cheer. Mine was very much on there, and so it fought me every millimeter of the way. So I would definitely try and get as much WD-40 on it as you can, because it's probably gonna be rusted like mine, and you end up having to break all those loose. And here is our old one right next to our new one. So I already have it kind of lined up how it's gonna look. So you'll see this has a flat wall, right? And that's gonna be the same on this. And then this top bit has sort of an indented sidewall, right? And you're gonna match that with your new one. So that's what it looks like so far. I'm gonna go ahead and knock out the other side real quick, and then we will take off the bar. Now we're back to this side, and so you'll see these brackets, they have these like notches in them, but it only goes back the same way. So they're pretty much identical on both sides, so you don't have to worry about keeping track of them. Actually, let me double check. Let's see here. This might be, yeah, it is that size. I think I'll use a deep socket though real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a cheater bar on this one as well, just because of the tight confined spaces, but there we go. So these ones are on there pretty good as well. Everything on mine is just a little bit rusty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and knock these two out, and then I will show you how to put the new one on, because there is a different way that you have to do it than you might assume. So now we have our old one off, and I've set up the new one just to mirror it, just so it's easy to keep track of. And you're gonna have your new bushings here, and you're just gonna pull these out, right? And there's gonna be a slit here, and then that is what will go around this, like that. And then you're just gonna slide this back into place. Probably have to work it a little bit, but easy enough. And then we're gonna do that exactly the same way on the other side. Okay, so now that you've got your brackets back around the bushing, just get them seated properly. They'll press in further once this is actually like tightened against the frame. But you'll see this bows out around your pumpkin, your diff. So that's how you know you got it correct. And then I just attached the link arms up top just very loosely, just so that this is swinging, but it's out of my way. And then I'm gonna go ahead and line this up, and then we're gonna tighten this down. So
I'm gonna get these snug and in place, and then I'm gonna crank on it with that breaker bar. My threads are really all rusted up, and so getting these off was quite a fight, but it's going back on just fine. But you might run into a similar problem, so we're just gonna go ahead and get these torqued down, and then we're gonna focus back up at this sway bar link arm. And there you have it. You might have a little nature's Loctite on there with the rust, so these might be pretty tough. But the top of the new bolt should go straight in. That is going to be 15mm as well. You just gotta get that long extension, get that torqued nice and tight, and then you're going to connect this bolt going this direction. And I usually just do something like this, 15, and then ratcheting wrench. You just gotta work that back in place, and now this is all nice and solid the way it should be. So much more stability, no more clunking. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day.